Alrighty, we're back again, and we've got the T90 here and his newborn twin brothers, the T14 Blackwash and the T14 Stonewashed. And we're going to do a quick comparison, as I promised, and show you all the differences and all the upgrades on the T14 compared to the T90. As I mentioned, the T90 was a very popular knife. It was near perfection. It was so good, and you'd be wondering what CKF could do to a already perfect knife to make it even better. I'm glad to say there's been a lot done, a lot of upgrades on the T14, and it's actually, in my opinion, far better than the T90 that was already amazing. So I'm going to get the Stonewash version out of the way, because the Blackwash is going to be more similar in terms of look and design to the design is same, but just the finish is going to be more similar to the T90, so I thought that's more appropriate for this comparison. So let's get it started. Just have a quick look at the handle, because that's where the major changes have happened. The first look at the handles will tell you that the lines have changed significantly. All the milling lines are changed, so this is a totally new design. The T90 had these deep milling sections on the handle just to reduce weight, and then they had that grooves all over. This one has some grooves, but instead of the deep milling, it has a full cutout windows on both sides. So there's similar cutout windows on this side and the other side. T90 only had one small section cut out near the lock bar. The T14 has that same, but a little bit larger cutout. Also has a cutout behind the pocket clip. Other than that, there are other changes to the handle. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video. The edges are tapered and beveled on the T14. So if you look at the T90, they are flat all around. The edges are rounded. There's no hot spots whatsoever on the T90, but they are left flat. On the T14, you've got these beveled edges. They're kind of on a 45-degree angle beveled, and it does feel smoother in hand, and it does feel more comfortable. The T14 is overall more ergonomic, not only because of the bevels, but also the handle profile has changed slightly. The T90 had that sort of sharp butt end, as you can see here, and it's squared off on the T90, and that's going to be very handy in the reverse grip that I'll show you later. So it actually handles a little bit better than the T90. Other than that, have a good look at the end of the handle, how it's been sort of tapered off. This gives you a smaller section on the grip on the T14 compared to the T90. So the grip section on the T90 is a little bit larger than the T14, and T14 handles better, handles nicer in my opinion, has a better grip, because this section has been sort of narrowed down slightly, and then the finger choil has changed as well. The finger choil on the T90, you could say it's kind of larger, and the way it's positioned, this one is a little bit smaller, moved to the front of the knife, and it's a bit rounder, and that makes a big difference when you handle the knife. I'll show you that later, but let's get all the changes out of the way so we can open the knife and have a better look. Big difference is addition of the pivot collar on the T14 that the T90 didn't have. These actually come standard with the blue titanium pivot collar. Let me show you that. So that's how they come, with a titanium blue pivot collar. They also come with this real copper pivot collar, which is really cool feature. So I've changed this just to show you how it looks on the knife. In my opinion, it looks beautiful. So the addition of the pivot collar. Also, the screws have changed as well. So on the T90, you had the larger screw on the pivot, and the body screw was just slightly smaller. On the T14, they're both the same size, and I think that's a good improvement, because You're getting a set of screws with the T90, so you have two spare screws which you can use either on this side and that side. It wouldn't make any difference, as opposed to T90 that if you need a spare parts, you have to get that individual screw, whether it be the body screw or the pivot. So that's a bonus point. Another change on the screw is that the T14 has a single-sided screw, so you can only open them from one side. The other side is just flat. The T90 had the double-sided screws. There's no issue with that, but in some occasions you would find it difficult to open a double-sided screw, because sometimes you would have to use two screwdrivers, one from the other side just to hold the screw down, and then unscrew it from this other side. But on the T14 you haven't got that issue at all. You can just simply use a flathead screwdriver to open any of the screws. I recommend using the largest flathead you could find. Don't use a smaller flathead screwdriver, because there's a chance that you slip and damage the finish on the screw, or even sort of chip the side of the screw, which isn't going to look good. And there's also another change with the screws, that you can see on the T90 that the screws are black coated, but they're not black washed, so they look a bit darker and have a uniform finish, and it's a different finish with the handle. But on the T14 they've matched that with the handle, so they are a different kind of coating. They are kind of black wash as well, and it matches the handle really nice. So that was another change here on the screws. You can see here that where the blade stop pin is, there's been cut out on both sides, so they've left it open. I don't think that would have any practical advantage or makes any practical difference. It is just probably for the weight reduction or aesthetics. Either way, the T90 didn't have it, and it was just flat. That was it on this side. If I turn the knives around, you can see a big difference in the pocket clip. The T90 had this narrower and longer pocket clip, and it has a thinner edge at the tip. The T14 has completely changed that. It's a tad shorter and it's wider. In my opinion, this is far better in terms of practicality compared to the T90, and I'll show you that from the side profile, and you could see why. So the T90 is, the pocket clip on the T90 is raised a lot more than the T14. So it's raised, the lip is raised a bit more, and it's narrow and sharp. So if you try to lift it with your thumb, you actually feel a little bit of hot spot in there, and you don't have that problem with the T14, because it's wider, it's thicker material, and it's rounded off really nicely, so there's no hot spots whatsoever, and you can lift it fairly easily. The other thing is, the pocket clip on the T14 is a springy and very easy to operate. Compared to the T90, it's much more improved. You already seen that there's a screw here, but on the T90, the T14 has hidden screws. The screws are drilled from inside of the handle, and they're not visible, which is kind of neat and nice. I already show you the difference in the cutout section, which we went over. And let's open the knives. The size haven't changed much. They're both the same size. There's just I think I did use calipers, and I came to realize that the T14 is actually 0.2 millimeters larger, which is nothing. And also the handle is just about 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters wider, which doesn't really make a big difference. They still feel the same size. However, the T14 handles a little bit, although it's a massive knife, it handles a little bit smaller compared to the T90, because T90 had that flat edges, and it'll give you a sort of an open grip position, which makes the knife to handle larger than it is. Let me show you that quickly. So that's how it feels in the hand, and the T14 actually feels a little bit more solid and stable in the hand. And the reason is, as I mentioned, the positioning of the finger choil, which when I put my index finger, you can see there's no room for my finger to move. It kind of falls into place really good, and then my other fingers go right here behind that notch kind of, and it gets locked in the position. So that's why it has a very, very good grip. Even on the reverse grip, the same thing, pinky finger falls here in the choil and the index goes here, and there you can see the difference with the flat end of the knife. So my thumb rests here really nice and secure, and it helps me to generate more piercing power with the knife. Really good with the change of the butt as opposed to the T90. Look at the reverse grip on the T90, so your finger goes on this kind of sharper tip. There's no hot spots here, I have to mention, but just an improvement on the other one. And when you hold the knife in a normal position, you can see how much room my index finger has to move up and down this choil, and also see that notch here is far away from my pinky finger. So because of that, your hands can actually slip on the handle. Sorry for that action, but I had to show you that. You don't have that with the T14. Your hand is locked into the position, and it's a fantastic secure grip. Other differences that make actually make the T14 even more ergonomic. You can see that the blade on the T14 is flat on the top, but they've added a thumb ramp on the T14. The T14 has this jimping on the thumb ramp as well, so your thumb can rest on it, and it provides a little bit of more grip, which makes it feel more ergonomic than the T14. Another difference was the flipper tab. Look at the flipper tab on the T90. It's large and pointy. It's rounded off, so it's not going to dig into your hands, but it's compared to the T14, see how much better that flipper tab is. So firstly, it's not as pointy, it's not as long, it's shorter, and then you have the addition of jimping on the T14, which makes the flipping action on this one a lot easier. The T series in general are known for that beautiful drop shot, smooth action. This T90 has been carried for well over 3 years, and inside of the handle is full of gunk and dust and pocket link, whatever you want. I haven't bothered to clean it, but even with all of that, and it's never been opened to clean, just check the action after well over 3 years. And that's partly the reason people love the T series, and they're one of the most popular. Now check the action on the T14. It is one of the smoothest actions I've seen on any knife. Absolutely effortless drop shot closing. Once you get past the beaten, the blade just drops on its own weight. And another thing I can show you on the video is that glass-like smooth feeling of the action. I mean, it is it's out of this world for a knife at this price point, to be honest. I think I've covered everything about the handle. Moving on to the blade quickly, show you that the blade grind has changed slightly. On the T90 you had the very small flat section on the knife. On the T14 they've extended the flats a little bit, and also the flats are satin. This one was completely the full blackwash. This one is blackwash and has that satin flats, which are really popular nowadays. People love the flat satins for some reason. And overall the blade on the T90 looks more aggressive in my opinion. It is a little bit wider on the tip, and has a different kind of you can probably see it here on the video. It also looks like it has a bigger cutting edge. If I wanted to put them like this, maybe put this on the bottom so you can see that the blade is actually just a tad, not much, but just a tiny bit, maybe about 0.2 millimeters larger than the T90, and the tip is a little bit more robust. So that satin flat makes it stand out in my opinion. I like the finish on the T90, on the T14, sorry. Other differences are obviously that the T90 wasn't numbered, wasn't a limited run. The T14 is. They are numbered and limited. This one is number 60. The T90 series were not limited, so that's another cool feature or a bonus to have with the T14. And also the T14 comes with a whole bunch of spare parts, a pocket clip, and as I mentioned, the extra pivot collar, which is really cool to have. And they come in a cool box with the certificate and the sticker. I think that's it for the video. I covered everything about the differences between the T14 and the T90. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel to see more videos coming up, and like this video and share it if you like, and don't forget to go to our website lionknives.com.au. I'll see you soon in the next video.